Screen is visible to all, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So before diving into Microsoft Intune course, before going deep, just want to give you a little heads up that the entire course is curated in different three segments. One is beginner, advanced, and architect level. So there are three variations. So first we'll talk about the basics, then we'll go in advanced, and then we'll touch upon the architect level. So I will try to cover as much as possible. And if everyone is ready, we are going to start. I think 42 people almost there. So I think we are good to start. All right. So let's understand this Microsoft Intune. So Microsoft Intune, as I mentioned, empowering modern device management and security. So modern is what, like, everything has now been modernized, right? The way we were handling earlier, securing our devices or managing those devices, that was difficult. Now, since cloud has came into the picture, cloud based services that has come from Microsoft, they have introduced, they designed, numerous applications like SaaS based applications. You have desktop as a service, you have platform as a service, so lots of things that has, indulged. And now, in terms of data protections, organizations has become more, concerned, more, they are to the point to safeguarding their data, okay, especially for remote workers scenario post COVID. So, how does this expansion enabled IT admins to enforce the security and compliance without even needing the users to visit office? Okay. This concept, I hope everyone is aware about bring your own device. Okay. So bring your own device means BYOD, which is a short form, which talks more about how you can use your personal device to access corporate data securely. Okay. And this mainly works, uh, you know for example, I have a mobile phone, okay, and this phone already have lots of things, lots of malicious, stuff already on that. And my device is jailbroken, maybe, I mean, I have rooted my operating system and lots of things which I had done, just because it's my personal device and I have a privilege of doing anything on that. But when it comes to assessing your corporate data, we require a security, right? We want first to check the compliance of the device, how much the device is compliant, whether the operating system is genuine or it's not, that the older one, like it's been like 5 years, you're still using that operating system. It should not be jailbroken, right? It should be with the right configuration, with right hardware, okay? Your user who's actually going to access your company data, that should also be a licensed user, all right? And on top of that, there is a security called single sign-on, which is SSO, okay? So before granting access, we will also consider users having a single sign-on feature set up, okay? So that way we will ensure that we are preventing data breach. We are ensuring that whatever the regulatory compliance, like we have a GDPR, we have HIPAA, for healthcare and banking sector. So all these are very much concerned about having their data very safe and ensuring that the compliance is met as per the policies like GDPR and HIPAA and all that. So how does Intune operate, across these fragmented device now? Because Intune supports Windows PC, okay, it supports mobile devices, it supports laptops, tablets, your desktops is excluding servers, okay. We are not having a server capability still inside the Intune. Also we have platforms like Linux, okay, Mac OS, iOS, Android. All these platforms are being supported by Intune, okay. So this is an overall definition of Microsoft Intune, why this is needed, how does this came into the market, and what was the need exactly of having this type of Intune. if you are coming from SCCM, if you know something about System Center Configuration Manager, if you know that, which has recently renamed to Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. So that software was meant to manage the devices which is on-prem. Okay. Now, since Microsoft having a broad level of exposure over the technology, and they are the digital, I would say, digital transformers, I would say. So they thought of having the modern approach where everyone can work seamlessly from anywhere, and they do not need to have any dependency coming to the office or being in the office network. Okay. So due to which this modernization has pitched in, and now all those softwares or laptops which are coming now, we have AIs also. So we are in or age of intelligence. So everything has now been modernized, and they are trying to do more fine grinding to establish more trust, more compliance, and users can better use this with a lesser efforts and lesser chaos. All right. So this was the introduction of Microsoft Intune, and so course is, as I said, is fragmented in three parts. So we'll talk about myself first. So who am I and why I'm here? So I am Vaibhav Kumar, and I will be instructor for these days. Okay. Uh, okay. Somehow this pen is not working. Okay, so I'll be an instructor for you for these days, and uh, I have been awarded 3 times with Learning Ambassador, and it's been like 15 years of experience in this industry, in IT industry, and I have coached and mentored more than 30,000 professionals across in my tenure. So someone has raised hands. Please, can you ask your question?
No, no, it was by mistake. You can continue.
Okay, just a second. Let me fix this pen because this is essential. I need this right now. If this is not working, then it will not good. Okay, but let me relaunch it. We'll talk about Microsoft Intune as in what it is in definitions of Microsoft. So Microsoft says that Microsoft Intune is a cloud-based service. Okay, this is especially coming from Microsoft, and it helps to manage and secure devices, applications, data. Okay, this is more of a part of Microsoft Endpoint Manager. Okay, so it's a suite which comes, and it's been widely being accepted by the corporates, and they are more on to top they're more on top of setting up the environment in such a seamless way, so we can support remote workers, we can support BYOD devices, and we can also enforce security compliances. So we will have a tighten security, plus our data breaches gets intact. It should not go outside of the organization network. Okay, so that is what the core platform management, and that is what the Intune comes into the picture. Okay, now simple term, if you say that Microsoft Intune as an IT, I'm talking about as an IT team or as an IT administrator, what I take it as an Intune, what does it help me, doing it? So it is, as an IT team, it helps me to control how the devices are being used in the organization. That is very plain and it is very simple. Okay, I don't want to flabbergasted any sort of, I don't want to sugarcoat any terms here. It is very simple. I'm as an admin, how Microsoft Intune can help me out. So Microsoft Intune will help me managing and controlling the devices within my organizations, whether it's phone, whether it's a laptop, whether it's a tablet, be it any platform, Windows, Mac OS, iOS, Android, or Linux, whatever it is. It will help me to manage those devices. It ensures that yes, corporate data is secure, and whatever person who's having accessing his, even he's accessing his own personal devices at remote location also, we will not be touching his personal data, any personal files or contents or pictures, but we will be only restricted to our corporate data. Okay, so that is what the intent of Microsoft Intune, and that is what we are going to help learn and leverage this. Okay, what are the key features? Before diving in, we need to understand the tool all about. What does this tool gives? So first of all, it talks about the features. It is giving us a cross platform device support. Cross platform device support means we should not be worried about whether we have Windows, whether we have Mac, or whether we have any iOS or Android. It does not matter. It helps you to manage all those cross platform device support. Okay, it is also helping you supporting the mobile application management and app protection policies. So sometimes it happens that I have a personal device and I just want to access Outlook. Okay, and I don't want to get into all the corporate network or policies. Nothing. I'm purely concerned about having my Outlook. I just want to check my emails. Okay, so for that there is app protection policy. Okay, so this app protection policies ensures that whatever Outlook data, whatever Outlook application he's using, inside of that application, whatever data is there, that should be protected by the policies. Okay, what if I think someday that okay, this in this email there are certain numbers which talks about the company's profit and loss. What if I just copy, or I have a just Excel file in my Outlook, I just download and just send it to someone, maybe I can use it, maybe I can take a do advantage of it. Okay, so ensuring that we are setting up app protection policies so users cannot copy and paste the data from company applications to their personal. For example, I'm using Outlook and I should not be allowed to copy this to my WhatsApp. Okay, simple as that. I should not be allowed to download that Excel file, or I should not be allowed to forward that to anyone, across outside the network. So that is what the app protection policies. We'll talk more about it. So app protection policy, it's like 4 hours session. Okay, we'll talk about more on that, and then we'll do the demo. So we'll talk on that. Conditional access. So we will be setting a conditional access where we will be ensuring that this device, if the conditions are met, for example, this device is Windows 11, it should be with 25s2, or whatever the latest OS edition or OS version, it should be compliant with that. Okay, compliance policy, there are various policies that we can create and ensure that okay, these should be followed across. If that is not following, then the device will be marked as non-compliant and access will be revoked. Okay, there is a zero touch deployment. So zero touch or autopilot device enrollments all like same. Zero touch means we as an IT admin, we are not going to touch that device, but that device will be directly shipped from OEM to that user house, and he will be opening that laptop and he will be straight away after some time, maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes, he will be ready to use that laptop full and in full fledged. Okay, so zero touch means IT admins work staff, it's cut short. We are not spending like 2 hours, 1.5 hours and 2 hours to set up one device and then sending it, shipping it to the user's end. Okay, so that is the one thing. Then endpoint analytics. So endpoint analytics is more of talking about the securing the device, ensuring that the endpoint definition is updated, ensuring there is virus scan is happening, there is no malware, there is no malicious thing which is injected or being injected or getting into, or he's not exploring any exploited sites. So we are there to monitor, and we are understanding the score wise what is the score of the overall environment. Okay, how much your tenant is secured. So all this we'll be looking at. We having this feature through which we can understand endpoints. Then patch and update management. So patch and update management. So now earlier we used to get patches from Microsoft, we need to get that downloaded, and then if you are coming from SSM, so you better know that we need to get that downloaded, create a package, then deploy it across your network, and ensuring that these patches are first tested in a pre-environment, and before doing that, we are enrolling, rolling it out to the production environment. So all this are now from Intune we can also achieve, but here we don't need to download anything. Your system will directly connect to Microsoft Catalog over the cloud, and it will directly download that patches and update whatever, if you're doing any in-place upgrade, like your operating system, maybe you are currently on, for example, 23H2, you're upgrading to 24H2. So all this you can do it from this way as well. Okay. And it supports for shared frontline and specialty devices. So if you are running a retail store and you have some shared devices or kiosk devices, all this can be managed from here. And there is integration with Microsoft ecosystem. So whatever you feel that there is that's coming from Microsoft and is important for your organization, that is coming in your environment, you can also set that up. So overall, this features talks about Microsoft Intune is that much capable that it can leverage all, it ensures that you have very sound sleep at night, and we have everything is covered and captured. Okay. So Intune mainly relies on two pillars. Okay. First pillar is called MDM, and second pillar is called MAM. Okay. So MDM is more of manages the entire device independently. Okay. It manages applications. It manages control of policies on the device settings. For example, if you have setting for VPN, if you want to set or deploy some certificates, that we can do. It is also helping to manage the inventory. So your IMEI, storage, apps, vendor, everything that you can manage through MDM. So MDM is what it is like. This is your, or let me give you this example. This is your house. Okay. So this is your house. So MDM is what is all managing about your house. Okay. Entirely. All right. This is what MDM is. So MDM more of looking at outside of the device, ensuring that whatever patches are installed, configurations are installed, whatever policies are being deployed to set this device from non-compliant to compliant. If the device is non-compliant, it should be blocked. If there is any compliance policies, then we need to verify the operating system version, password. It should not be jailbroken, and all sort of things should not be rotated. So mainly we are talking about the entire house as an MDM. Okay, as an MDM solution. And MAM at other piece, MAM, which is the inside of this. Okay, this is what called MAM. Okay, so MDM is more about the device management outside of the device, and MAM is more of the inside of. We are more focused on protecting corporate data or corporate applications data without having full device control. Okay, when I'm talking about MAM, so I'm not talking about the entire house, I'm talking about the inside this. So it is as good if you understand this example. This is your phone. Okay, so we as an MDM will be talking about the entire phone, and if you get inside this, okay, this application, for example, this is called MAM. Okay, so I'll be talking about MAM means I'm only setting up my policies, ensuring that there is a full device control. Policies are preventing data leakage, no copy paste from WhatsApp, Outlook to WhatsApp, or anywhere. We just getting this forwarded, the documentation. Okay, that is ring fenced, enabling applications to install, uninstall, repair, wipe. Okay, whatever. So we don't require any personal data to touch. If I'm talking about this application, okay, so I'm not talking about other applications which user is already using. I'm only concerned about this application, which is a corporate application, and I'm allowed to manage install, uninstall, repair, wipe, everything I can do this from this MAM policy. Okay, so I'll have complete validation check, I will have complete enforcement of configuration, and it will be more on the self service repair, fix crashes. For example, if there is any application which is installed and somehow it got crashed, it will self heal, it will fix the problem, and it will repair itself, and then it will fix automatically, gets fixed. So this is what the feature of MAM and MDM. So more of from MDM, you can set the device policies. As I said, we can set the compliances for OS version, passwords, no jailbroken, root. Okay, we can wipe the device. So wiping in sense, we can, whatever corporate data we have on this device, we can directly go and wipe it out. Okay, so it will trigger a remote wipe. For example, I have a device which is lost and stolen right now. This device is no longer with me. I don't have uh, you know position of that device with me, so I can trigger a remote wipe and I can get that corporate data removed from that device. Okay, I can push app, I can push the configuration, I can ensure that whatever applications are there, those are applications are completely in control with the device settings. And if I'm for example, I have a device and I just visiting to any of my Hexaware office, so there is a certificate. Okay, so there is a certificate based authentication that I can also have this on my device. So if that certificates are there, so for VPN and Wi-Fi or any other requirement, if I have a certificate, I can get that managed. Okay, so I don't need to do any sort of manual stuff on that device. And device inventory, as I talked about, like IMI, storage, applications, vendor, everything I can get it from this device. Okay, device wipe, I talked about, like we have a device, we just want to remove everything of whatever corporate data is there on that device, we can do it. Application push, we can do application push from here. And device configuration, like talk about certificates and VPN. And this MAM, this is what called MAM. This is also called as Intune app protection policies. So here we can create app protection policies for application access, data transfer. We talked about Outlook to WhatsApp, and data protection. We'll talk about the DLP. Okay, application wipes. So in that particular application, so in MAM, this is a device. Okay, so there will be two separate containers that will separate. So this will be my personal and this will be my corporate. Okay, so whenever I am removing anything from my corporate, okay, whenever I am removing anything from my corporate, it will only be removed from my corporate container. Okay, it will not touch my personal container, and that is how the management gets easier. Okay, uh, this is why the Intune is widely being accepted after this new term, where they do not want to remove everything like entire device, but they are only keen and concerned about those corporate device data or applications which are there, and they don't want that data to be compromised outside. So that is what this app protection policies comes into the picture. Okay, now this is the whole architecture. Okay, this is how this look like. I will just zoom in so you guys can better see it. Okay, so this is the web console through which, so Intune is not that we need to install anything on any server or anywhere on the machines. Okay, there's no plugin required, nothing. And there should not be a hiccup of a hardware compliant device, or there should not be any risk of using your personal devices. Okay, so web console is something like it can be accessed from anywhere, from any browser. If you have internet and you have a stable broadband, you can manage this web console, and you can manage entire your production environment from here itself. Okay, that's why uh, Microsoft Intune or Azure administrators, they do get work from home. So that is what the beauty of it, because now trend has been now changing, because now we are post COVID, now things have improved and people started walking into offices, and they started using, but it's like 1 day office or 2 day of it, but still you have a flexibility of working from home if you can convince your client. Okay. So this is the web console through which you connect your Intune network, or your Intune console. This is where you access it. And then there is a configuration reporting which is there in the background, okay, which flex give you the flexibility to connect over the network, over the entire environment. Okay. Then there is a graph API. This graph API is more of, it is, it's like a gateway. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll give you this. This is like a gate. Okay, and in this gate there is a small connection. So whatever information, if you are just going, whatever information you're going to pass, this will be only routed if this graph API permits. Okay. So which means this is a wall for the validation. So whatever queries we are going to pass on, this graph API ensures that, it acts as a gateway. It do the validation. It checks whether this query is correct or not, and whether this service that person is requiring should be provided to him or not. Okay. So it enables also synchronization. So whatever policies or whatever uh, authentication you are setting up, or if you have any on-prem, whatever you are doing, it directly goes from Microsoft Graph API, and then it established a connection to Azure network, and then you get on the data. Okay. So this is the Graph APIs through which it channelized, and then this is what the Microsoft Intune services that you get. So here you get a feature to configure the devices. Okay, configuration of the devices means you can have the endpoint security enforced on those devices. You can have separate configuration profiles that you can set. For example, I have a device, okay, but I'm working in a car manufacturing plant. I don't want my workers to capture the recent design of a new car which we're going to launch. So what I'll do, I will simply set my camera setting off. Okay, I will, from the configuration profiles or configuration settings, we can disable this camera. And if that user is trying to enable or just trying to use the camera, it will say that your organization has blocked this settings or does not allow you, or you're not permitted to use it, something like that. So configuring device means overall we can take precedence, and we can change or stop various settings from the device, and we ensures that yes, your device is compliant, falling in compliant state before entering to the premises. Okay, and if that device does not fall under the compliance, it will throw an error message stating that either your passcode is not, for example, I just set a passcode of 8 digit. Okay, if the passcode is not there, it will not allow me to access any of the organization's data. Okay, camera is disabled. So this camera disabled, where we can do it, if I have a corporate devices which is like purchased by me or as a company and given to my employee. So these devices, I have a complete hold of settings. I can do various changes as per my requirement. Okay. Then next comes protection of your data. So protection of data, as I talked about more, we are concerned about the app protection and compliance policies. So whatever application that user is using, like Outlook, Excel, PPT, whatever he is using, if there is any company data residing inside of it, then it's our own responsibility to safeguard that data. And how we can safeguard? By establishing a app protection policy. So in app protection policies, there are two type of apps. One is called enlightened and another is called unenlightened. Means the one which is aware about MAM, which is aware about the how to safeguard itself by setting up some policies. And some of the applications, they do not have the awareness, like we have WhatsApp. Okay, it's basic example. So App protection policies, we can set it from here. We can also check device compliance policies. So for example, I should check what is the device compliance, what is the, whether we have a pin on this device or not, whether the OS version is meeting the latest OS version is there or not, whether the device is not jailbroken, do we have integrated threat assessment performed on this device or not. So everything that will be checked and confirmed before giving access to any company resources data. Okay. Now next one is we have manage applications. So manage applications, yes, we can have applications installed. We can have app configuration policies as we talked about, like MAM. So we can, for each applications, we can set policies like it should not allow to copy and paste. It should allow you to download and safeguard your files to only one drive. It should not allow to uh, you know connect to any external devices and copy paste the data. It should lots of things, we'll talk about it in MAM. But app protection policies is, or app configuration policies is more of configuring and installing how this application will get installed on the devices. Okay. And then we have feature called LOB application. So LOB is your line of business application or your customized application, which is specially designed for your organization. Maybe it could be a script, maybe a legacy application, whatever it could be. Okay. So these legacy applications can also be managed through Intune. We can have those added to your Intune, and then from there you can manage the application. Okay, so these are the Intune services which are readily available that we can use. Okay, now we have a integration of Microsoft Entra. Okay, so Microsoft Entra is nothing but it's your Active Directory. Okay, it's your Active Directory, but it's in form of cloud. Okay, so this is more of a cloud based. So earlier we used to have this on the server, on the domain controller, on prem. It's very secure, it's very ring fenced. We have a security, we have app proxies, and everything is set up to safeguard. It's more on the intranet. It should not be exposed because we have entire database of our organization kept in this Active Directory. Now Microsoft has leveraged and they have expanded this in a form of a cloud, which is now recently, not recently, but they have changed this to Microsoft Entra. Earlier it was Azure AD. So Azure is now changed to Entra ID, and this Entra ID, ensures that whatever data we have here, okay, in our on-prem Active Directory, the same gets synchronized here on your Entra as well through Entra Connect. Okay, so what we are doing, we are migrating, or we are ensuring the whatever identities and objects are computer objects are there on your on-prem, the same gets copied in your Microsoft Entra as well. So you should not be like, I have a one user who is there on-prem, and the same user, if he is trying to connect to any SaaS based applications, Microsoft 365 or anything, so he should not be entering a different password or using a different username over there. So that's why the synchronization is there to intercept and establish the communication. Okay. And now Microsoft Entra ID, because it runs on a flat structure. Okay. And Active Directory is more on the hierarchical approach. Okay. So hierarchical means here we can have OUs, here we can have multiple domains and all sort of things we can create like in a hierarchy manner. But Microsoft Entra is runs on a flat structure. That's why we can have group policies assigned. We can have multiple objects we can set and separate them in a different OUs and all. But here Microsoft Entra, since it's in a flat structure, so policy assignment and all, or keeping the objects within different brackets or in a folder, that's not possible. So that's why what it does, it just copies the entire objects. Okay, and enters and safeguards here inside the enter id, and we have algorithms which runs in the background, which ensuring that we have all these parsed in a different set of understanding, maybe in an algorithm way. We cannot read it out, okay, in a normal fashion. So whatever OUs or groups we have created, or whatever users we have here, okay, the same thing we can target here using the group targeting. So Intune having an integration with Microsoft Entra ID, and we can set multiple groups, in that, and through that we can target these customized, device settings or compliance policies, applications, or everything. We can do it from here. What does this help actually? So for example, I have a different set of environment. I have a HR team, marketing team, sales team. I have IT admins. Then I have a Chrome based user. I have different people who are parts of the group. Okay, so at that point of time we can have them separated in a group, and then we can target those settings which we require to achieve on these particular groups. So that facility is there, and then we can have a device compliance result using using this using this we can set a compliance as well. Okay, if that user who's going to connect to my on-prem, or they just wanted to connect to cloud resources, they want to authenticate. So before authenticating, I should be checking whether they have SSO set up, whether they have a license, appropriate license, whether their password is correct or not. Everything we will be checking on that. Then we have a conditional access that is also part of Entra. So conditional access, like you have a role based access, right? So role based access means if I'm a manager, okay, so I'll be having a certain console level access. I'll be having certain access which I can only use, but I cannot go beyond. I cannot go beyond that. Okay. Uh, so I cannot go beyond that. But if I have this conditional access setup, which means that yes, my conditions, if not met, I will not be allowed access to this. Okay, that is the conditional access policies. Okay, now if you come to on-prem, okay, on-prem is more secured. That is what as in considered so far till date. Okay, so guys, I'm just getting a call. Just take a break of 5 minutes. Let's connect again. Okay, just a second. Hi guys, I'm back. Sorry, got an urgent call from the hospital, so I need to attend that. Okay, so where we were, yeah, we talked about on-prem, and we talked about how Intune. Am I audible to all? Please confirm.
Yes, Yuvraj.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, and apology for, yeah, got a call. So all right, so we talked about on-prem. So on-prem is more secure, and it's been like till date we know that yes, on-prem is very secure, and we have Microsoft SCCM, which is changed to Microsoft Configuration Manager. So this SCCM is there on on-prem. So why now when Intune came into the picture, it was a very concerning topic, like how would we get manage these Windows devices which are on-prem and which is there from way long, which is on the domain. Okay, so how would we get this liberty to manage these devices? So then Intune, Microsoft came with a functionality called co-management. Okay, so Intune is more of cloud-based, and SCCM is more of your on-prem. Okay, so SCCM more works on on-prem devices, which is on the domain. Okay, so now co-management came into the picture. Through co-management, what we can do, we can sync those devices which is on-prem, which is on the domain, to our on cloud. Okay, so that is how the what I say, a handshake that has happened. Okay, through which co-management is that term that has connected two entities like on-prem and cloud together. Okay, so this is also a flexibility of Intune that comes here. And then we have application integration. Okay, so these applications are here. So we have integration with Apple App Store, we have integration with Google Play Store, we have integration with Microsoft Store. Okay, and we have also integration of web applications. If you are having a web applications that can also be utilized as in store, we can also have SaaS based applications. So whatever like Outlook and number of applications which are available over software as a service over the cloud, we can also utilize it. And we have Microsoft 365 all applications, which is like a suite that comes here that can also be integrated, and we can also utilize these applications. So storefront, we have Apple, Google Play, Microsoft Store. From M360, from M365 M365 applications, we have Outlook, Excel, managed Google Play. From operating system wise, we have like we can have Windows in place upgrade. We can have upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Everything we can do it from here. Okay. So now next comes to this Google Play app. So this is, we have Google Cloud. We require a Google account and Google services to connect this Google Play Store. Okay. Next, we have a Defender for endpoints. So Defender is more of applying a security on policies on the devices. So we ensure that through which we will be having a tightened security, and this works on your Windows and Mac OS and Linux. Okay, servers at present, I am not using anything from Intune, but from Microsoft Defender straight away we can manage these device platforms as well. Now, next we have MDM capabilities. Uh, so those who's not speaking, please go on mute. So I think that will be easier. Okay. So MDM capabilities is there, means your mobile device management, your Windows device management, your Mac OS, iOS, Linux, Android, everything you can manage it from here as well. Okay. So MDM and MAM, we already talked about. MAM is more of application based management. Okay, and application MDM is more of mobile device management. Okay, so MAM is your app centric. Okay, more concerned about your mobile applications, and MDM is more about your mobile device management. Okay, so these two features comes handy. And then we have a Windows Update feature. So Windows Update feature especially designed, and it runs on your Windows devices. Okay, this does not run on any Android or any other devices. Windows Update for Business. This is a ring-based solution which is provided by Microsoft as in cloud services, through which we can create multiple rings. Rings means we can have divide the chunk of devices in a multiple rings. We'll talk about Windows Update. I'll just give you a small insight. Like this is how your ring look like. Okay, in this one ring, for example, this is first ring is of your IT admin. Okay, second ring is more of your pre-production devices maybe, and then third ring is where your production devices comes into the picture. Okay, so that is how the ring based solution that has given by Microsoft to deploy Windows updates and check how your environment is secured. If for example first rings fails, so at that point, if this for example fails, so we can stop the deployment right there, so it will not gradually go beyond the second and third rings. Okay, so that is what is we'll cover more about Windows updates. It's a 4 hours session, but yeah, so this is what the overall structure is all about. And if I take a look here, so we have log analytics. Okay, that is there. We have Intune data warehouse. This is mainly for Power BI dashboards. So this is a warehouse where all your data is kept inside for 30 days, I believe, and we can generate reports of Power BI reports through this by having a connection with this data warehouse. Endpoint analytics, we talked about already, that endpoint analytics more of secure guarding, and it's part of like detect threats, your malware, proactively, all sort of things it done through this endpoint analytics. Okay, it's part of Microsoft Defender. Windows Autopilot, which is, we talked about zero trust deployment, and Intune Suite is more of the entire family we're talking about. So this is total overall architecture. This is how the Intune refers, or it is there. Now I'll go more deep into that. Okay, we'll understand more deep about this architecture. This is Microsoft Data Center. Okay, I'm just getting a little deep into that, so you understand more about Intune. Intune is just not it's an independent service, but it is dependent on various other technologies that comes from, Microsoft. And more of data centers, if I'm talking about, so I'm saying that Azure is data center infrastructure. The backend infrastructure is more of, I'm talking about, the more is, this is what is called Azure. So I'm talking about backend. Okay, so what backend is? Azure Service Fabric. Okay, so Intune heavily dependent on Azure infrastructure, which is powered by Azure Service Fabric, okay, which orchestrate stateless microservices in containers for scalability, reliability across millions of devices. Okay, which means that Microsoft having these data centers having different. If I go in this way, okay, so this is the data centers. Okay, in this data center we have different set of racks. Okay, so these racks, having different. For example, if I go, there are front door services, okay, that runs. Then there are app services. We have app storage. Let me use the pen, that will be easier to make you understand here. Okay, so what I'm saying here, so these are the different racks. Okay, in these racks there are multiple. So all this works as Azure Service Fabric. Okay, this run on Azure Service Fabric, which orchestrate stateless Microsoft micro services in containers. So we have different racks, and we have different containers within that. So maybe, for example, this is my tenant. Okay, for example, this is my tenant. In this tenant, it is just not this center. Okay, in this we have front door. Okay, in this we have app services, okay, that runs. Then we have storage. Then we have a SQL database. Okay, all this I'm talking about, this is inside, and this is outside. Okay, so inside this, then we have a key vault also, and then we have Entra ID. So all these govern. So each rack having one tenant, okay, or so there are millions of these type of tenants which are coinciding in different containers. Okay, that is what that is how the Azure data center takes care about it, these Microsoft Intune architecture. So Microsoft Intune runs on various services, which is hosted as Azure Service Fabric, which is backend of each service cluster. Okay, so we have SQL database for storage, which stores your metadata policies. Azure Blob Storage, which talks about your logs, your diagnostic app packages. Entra IDs more on about the authentication, okay, on the user's devices. Azure Monitor tracks the performance, okay, checks about the compliance, and container, which takes care about the backend services. Okay, so whatever, so these data centers are having a fragmented services which is defined into the racks, and these racks are actually your tenants. Okay, so these tenants which are isolated, which cannot connect to any other, tenant outside of their zone. Okay, and these racks enables, we have a multi environment support, so it is physically secure. It is more on having a dynamic scaling. Okay, that is where we are more on trust Microsoft, that they are safeguarding everything and we do not need to worry about for our data. Okay, so this is how the inside looks and this is how the outside. So this is how, if you know that this is how the data center of you, this is how the picture looks like, this is the outside of view. Okay, so more of, let's understand what are these services all about. So this is how the infrastructure which I'm talking about. So there are like Azure region. Okay, so region, I think everyone is aware about. If not, region is more of a specific location. For example, if I'm talking about Asia, or let's talk about India. So India, we have three locations. Central, we have Pune. South, we have Chennai, and West, we have Mumbai. Okay, so like Middle East also we have UAE, so we have Dubai where we have a Azure data centers. So like that, we this segregation is formed, and Azure Fabric is more of the backend services, as I talked, backend infrastructure. So it's more heavily Intune is dependent on. Front door, we'll be just talking about what is the front door. Okay, in the next slide I have covered app services, so how your apps are getting interaction. All this is covered by this. SQL database, where all your information of device information gets stored. Storage is where your images and other piece of thing gets. Service bus is more of the communication side. Okay, it sets the communication, and key vault ensures that yes, your data is safeguarded and it's having a pure security. So Intune services mainly use the policy engine. Okay, for compliance and policy, it drives through here. App deployment is more of through which we deploys the application. Reporting analytics, using that we ensures that whatever reports, how many devices are compliant, how many are not, what is the state of application deployment and everything. And notification services, if I need to send any notification or communication or prompt to the users, we use this service bus. Okay, and integration, we have Microsoft 365, Defender, on-prem AD, and co-management. Okay, so this is where we can have a hybrid connection as well. This is more of Windows I'm talking about, right? So one more thing just to draw attention here. If I'm talking about domain, okay, so I'm only talking about the Windows devices. Okay, only talking about the Windows devices, because mobile devices, we cannot join them in domain. Okay, so I'm more on talking about this Windows devices on the domain side. Okay, now let's understand more depth inside of it. I just wanted to touch upon this. So global regions, so I have covered in the next slide what are the global regions are there and how many of them are available right now. And currently we will be touching upon global region is something is a physical data centers which are across available worldwide. Okay, this host your Intune service, so closer to users. So if I'm sitting in India, I don't want my data centers to be in East US or Central US or West US. I want something which is nearby to me, and that's why we have here we have option called Chennai, we have Pune, and we have Mumbai. Okay, so the three data centers which are there nearby to me. So this will help me to cut short my low latency data residency and disaster recovery as well. So in case if my Pune data center, something happens or in Mumbai gets flooded, okay, we still have a backup here in Chennai, and we have still here in Pune if Pune is stable, so we can get the data copied from there. Okay, Then we have Azure Front Door. So Front Door is more on the load balancing. So if you have if you are getting traffic, okay, and so if there is a heavy traffic, then it will route those traffic to the nearest healthy Intune backend, so that we will have a seamless connectivity, and we will be having a high availability, and we will having a very less number of failures. Okay. App services is more of platform as a service for web and API hosting. So anything, if you are looking for like policies, compliance, app engines, whatever you're trying to connect from Intune, this app service is actually responsible to route your to the API host, and ensures that there is a way of expansion. So if I say I have all of a sudden, for example, I have 100 users logged in, and all of a sudden on Great India Deal, or maybe or Amazon, something like 1 lakh people logged in on my website, or on my devices, maybe they start using, so it can auto scale automatically. We do not require any extra VM to be to set for that, because this is more of a API hosting. Okay. Azure storage is more of your file table and blob storage. So this is where your logs, your packages, if you're deploying any applications, then that package sits there. Reporting, metadata, everything gets inside this Azure storage, and this is more encrypted, and this is more in a scalable storage. So this storage is not like you have a 1 TB, and after 1 TB you cannot expand it. It will expand automatically, and it will be encrypted, and there is a scalability that you can achieve. Azure SQL database is more of your relational database means whatever device records, policies, and compliance status we are creating, that all will be relationally connected to each other, and that is where we have a structured data management. Okay. And each policies will, like if we have created a policies for devices, so that policies, compliance policies, everything will be connected to the SQL database. That's for the structured data management. Then Azure Service Bus is more of cloud messaging services. So this will handle internal Microsoft service communication that goes that can be scalable of like millions of communication channels that can go through, and it is scalable and in the processing. So whatever command you're going to give to your device, it will straight away being carried out through this Azure Service Bus. Okay. That is where we see a scalable, like we almost like we have 10,000 for example, we have 5,000 devices. All of a sudden we got a merger of 10,000 plus devices over the Intune. So this communication bus will handle that scalability, and it will process it without getting any sort of disturbance. Then Azure Key Vault is more of keeping your secrets and your certificates over here. Okay. And this is where you stores the encryption keys, and this is made of like because of to keeping your security strong and compliances are set properly. This Azure Key Vault comes into the picture. Last, I think everyone is aware, Microsoft Entra ID. This is more of a cloud identity provider. It helps you to authenticate, gives the token, and ensures that yes, devices having the right security and identifications through which uh, we can drive a secure architecture or infrastructure. Okay. So this is the inside of that rack I talked about. These are the infrastructure wise expansion which Microsoft Intune uses of Azure. It is like they all are in the same family, but Intune heavily dependent all these services, through which this seamless Intune services runs. Okay. Now let's understand the region. Okay. So currently what I had known that there are 60 regions, 60 plus regions. So currently there are 57 live production regions worldwide which is available. Okay. And these regions are at different locations. You can see that as a flag. So these are, and Azure having like it's very large data center infrastructure. Okay, and we they have like 57 live production, and 7 more are coming, which are planned and launching very soon. Okay, and there are availability zones. So 105 is spread across, or earlier, I mean, it was something what I know, that 120 plus availability zones, which was published earlier. Now they have changed this to 105. So 120 availability zones was worldwide for low latency, uninterrupted services, and these regions are, like as I said, in India. So in India, we have central, we have south, and we have something called west. Okay, so this is Chennai, this is Pune, and this is your Mumbai. Okay, so these regions, like in India, so for example, this is a India region, so we have 3 availability zones. Okay, and your data is copied everywhere. So what happens, what if this data center, gets disrupted somehow? So we have availability zone 2, and your data, uh, your traffic will be auto shifted to this data zone. Okay, in this data center, and the same data will be copied. So until they fix this zone 1, the data will remain active on zone 2 and zone 3, and you will not feel any latency or any disturbance in the network. But there will be a stinker or notification that will be issued, that because of this data center uh, down, we are working out it, or we are fixing this problem, something like that. So it depends upon what is the nearest data region, which where, or data center where you belongs to. It will shift the load, and it will manage the uh, data, parity, or I would say proximity of your data. So we will have a very limited uh, downtime. Okay, so that was all about geolocations of Intune. Next, we'll be talking about the history. Okay, so where this uh, monster came into this world. Okay, 2010 was the first time when Microsoft announced this Windows Intune. If you are coming, like if you have been using this Windows Intune from, if you are old, if you have used it, so you better know that this was publicly announced at that point. This was a Windows Intune, and at that point of time, we need to have a small tiny software like SCCM. We need to have a client install on the devices and use it. Okay, now October this 2010, this was publicly announced. 2011 March, they officially announced this Windows Intune as a cloud-based PC management services for Windows. Okay, so earlier this was purely meant for managing Windows, because Windows was a hectic, you know, uh, what I say, hectic solution or platform to cater and fix this. Okay, so this progression shifted from on-prem agents to now cloud native, and they wanted to have a agentless scalability. So they just don't want to be dependent on Windows. So first of all, Microsoft is more on the Windows centric technology. They wanted to have something to safeguard their Windows, and how to manage how to manage these Windows from the cloud. So they had this vision to keep technology something like which can be we can manage cloud based, through which we can manage Windows updates, malware protection, and inventory. All sort of inventory is like we in SSM, we fetch the inventory, so we get all sort of information about that using WMI. That is what they thought of, keeping this Windows in tune, so they can manage this using a cloud based. Okay, now 2014 and 15, the market started evolving, and they started understanding that they should not be restrict over to only Windows PCs or malware or inventory. They should be gradually moving to MDM and MM also. So that point of, that point, they started evolving this Intune into full-fledged. They modernized this to MDM and MAM capabilities, and these two tools got added, which enhanced scalability, and they added iOS, Android, and Mac OS management as well. Okay, so now this started, and it was the really great time of understanding, like now we can have personal devices we can also have, like BYOD devices, we can also manage it from anywhere. So that was the great achievement. 2017, they merged Intune with Microsoft Endpoint Manager. That is what you're called SCCM if you are coming from old days. So SCCM, they did an integration and they ensured that now everything comes into the family that is called Microsoft Endpoint Manager or MECM suite. In that, they they launched that co management. Okay, through co-management, they ensured that your Windows devices will now be managed and configured, and we will have both the world, like both the on-prem and cloud, both will be managed together using this Intune. Now, SSM integration, this was for the hybrid environment. Then 2020 and 22, they started continuously integrating your Microsoft 365 Azure AD, which is now changed to Entra ID, Autopilot, and these things came into the picture in integration. So this integration is recently done. It's just like 4 years. And 23, 24, they now integrated with AI driven analytics. The more of they have Intune suite and endpoint management. So all these analytics, helps you to manage your entire you know device. You can see what is happening on this through AI driven. So it is now become more robust and more useful. Okay, it's just not Intune. Now we have a competitors also. So if you notice that there are various technologies which has pitched in now, competitors including your Jamf, your IBM Mass, maybe Citrix, Meraki, Sophos, Workspace ONE. This is now UEM also. So this is being very popular nowadays. Manage Engine. I started using this UEM or Workspace ONE. Workspace ONE is, I mean, I'm still exploring. I'm not completely into it. Ivanti, Ninja, Quest, Kasaya, Tanium, and all these, are having a great way of these competitors. They thought of improving their products more than choosing Intune, and they you know landed into the market. Okay, they thought of we can compete it, but it's still, if you see, like 60% of the stock is taken care by Intune. Why? Because Intune comes from the MS background and gives the ability to connect you from anywhere. Okay, if you are using Microsoft 365 licenses, you can have Intune. Okay, if you are using EMS, you can have Intune. If you are using Entra P1 or P2, you can have it. If you're using Intune Suite, you can have Intune. So, I mean, natively, this is coming from Microsoft. That is the first thing. Second thing is we have a easy integration. Okay, so we will have Entra ID, we will have M365, which are like daunting products of Microsoft, and 365 is now SaaS based. So it is very much easy to integrate. So Intune is that comes into the picture. Then we have a cross platform which is now broadened. Now they have come with Linux also. Okay, Mac OS, iOS, or everything which we can cater and can manage. So that is a thing. And then easy licensing in Microsoft ecosystem. So anything that you buy, any licenses that you're buying, they will complement you giving a Intune license. Okay, that is the plus point. That's why it's easy to integrate and adopt, and it's become rather for other applications I'm not sure, but for Intune, what I have been using from last 10 years, I mean, it's been quite easier to manage and understand. It's very simple, plain platforms. Everything is pre-baked. We just need to apply the logic, understanding how to utilize the solution. Okay, so that is why Intune is quite easy to understand, and the console is also easy to navigate. So more of this is more of a GUI based interface. So we don't need to install or anything. We don't need to do anything. No major task, no integration, nothing. We can simply click any policies, we can define certain scopes, and then we can deploy it. It's as simple as that. We have n number of templates which are available, which having a pre-built settings. Okay, you don't need to write any script to deploy any application or enforce any compliance policies or anything. These all are pre-configured. It is as good like you have a pre-baked pizza with you. Okay, you just need to do some seasoning and just bake it and eat it. Okay, that's it. You don't need to apply any logic, or you don't need to brainstorm anything on that. There's no coding required, so anyone who is at the beginner level, and he just want to use it, he can definitely go and start using it. There is no tough logic of understanding. It is very plain, it's very simple. Automation is optional, of course. If you're not coming from a development background, if still you can use automation. There are graph API automation that I'll talk in my lectures in course, and there is a PowerShell integration as well. So using that, you can have multiple PowerShell script that you can create. You can create a bulk users, you can delete, you can create multiple policies in with using this. And there are, like on GitHub, there are lots of scripts which are already available by Microsoft. We just need to tweak something and start using it. So 90% of typical cases, okay, you do not need any scripting knowledge. Okay, you do not need to have hands-on on PowerShell or something. But gradually, if you start moving into like an architect phase, you should be learning how to create PowerShell script, and for what reason what PowerShell script can be used. So now we have ChatGPT, we have multiple AI tools which are available, which will Copilot is there, which will help you creating a PowerShell script as per your need, and then you can test it in your production, not production, in pre-production environment. And then if that works, then you can perform it on one or two devices. If everything works fine, then you can gradually move it. So using PowerShell and Graph API, you can do heavy automation where you don't need to. For example, there are devices which you require to retire by default. You need to mark non-compliant devices. You need to identify how many devices does not have this much security, or the how many people are using this application. All sort of things you can do. You can scripting, you can do automate these. Okay, so that was easy to learn. Salary wise, I just don't want to quote anything, but this is something which I came from Ambition Box. So don't blame me, blame to Ambition Box who was talking about these terms. So they said like 6 to 10 years, if you are holding this SCCM plus Intune experience, you will be getting max to max 25, or it depends upon your skill and how do you takes your interviews and all, or in projects how you connect with your client and how you take it up. And leads also getting like 15 to 14, and I have a person I know that he's getting 70 plus L. Okay, right now he's in Microsoft. So Intune architect, of course, if you're going outside of India, there are openings in the market, and they are actually looking a pure mind who can apply the logic, who can understand the network and set the architecture, and can manage the entire show without depending on any other person. Okay, an Intune architect for London. This is something 95,000, which I read it out on Ambition Box. So depends upon your roles and responsibilities and seniority, and how heavily tasks are given to you. Depends upon that, you get your salary package. Okay, so what I'm trying to say that Intune, since it's a future of modern device management, and still people are using SCCM, but 60%, 70% people, they have gradually migrated to Intune, or they are doing a POC right now. So this is the right time to hammer, and this is the right time to showcase your skills and upgrade yourself, and then move into the market, get the right paychecks, and get the right responsibilities. And now then, after having Intune architect level of experience, then gradually move to Azure administration, and then move on into the securities. So because now two things more concerning nowadays. One is your cloud security. Okay, that is the one thing, and then managing architecture. Okay, so these two things. So if you are looking for certification, to AZ 500 or for managing this AZ 305, these two you can do. For Intune, we can go with MD 102. It's still relevant, I believe. I mean, you can go with this certification, and these three will boost your career. Okay, but just not a certification, you should have a knowledge also, that it will complement. Okay, so now let's talk about the licensing part. So Intune having a license called Intune standalone. Okay, this standalone is more of small and mid-sized businesses. They are using it right now. There are Intune Suite, which is advanced, which gives you advanced endpoint tools and analytics. Okay, then Microsoft 365 E3 or E5. This is more of full productivity and security bundle comes. EMS is more of that organizations are using. Okay, big organization I'm talking about. So they are using more on the security and device management. Okay, then we have Microsoft 365 A3 or E5 licenses. This is more of if you are having any, like if you are connected with any organization like a school or universities or something like that, or you're a student, at that point of time you can avail this license, and you can uh, test your Intune knowledge, and you can set up your own environment in your school, and you can provision this, like if you're provisioning devices to your teachers or students, they're having their iPad or like other devices. So you can manage it through this. And then the last thing, we'll be talking more about this. Okay, in this entire lab, we will be going through setting this lab, Microsoft 365 developer plan. Okay, so this developer plan we will be going to utilize. This is of a 90 days lab. Okay, and we get sandbox subscription with this. And this 90 days, the best part of this lab is, like if you're using 90 days, and if you're continuously using this 90 days, it will automatically gets renewed next 90 days. Okay, so 3 months is given by default. If you're using it continuously, it will give you another 3 months, means like 6 months. Then it will again move it to 9 months, and then 1 year, and then 2 years, like that. It depends upon your usage, how good you are, and you are daily or bi-weekly, you are weekly, you're using this sandbox subscription or this environment. It will give you extension every 3 months or every 2 months. Okay, so this is the best thing that I can cater.
Team, am I audible?
Yes, you are. And each license is now having different costing. So if you go with this license, so we will be paying $8 per month. Okay, here, and this is per user per month. Okay, $8. If you go with Microsoft Intune Suite, which is giving you advanced feature, of course, so this is giving you this is like you end up paying $18 per month per user. Okay, then if you go with Microsoft 365 E3 or E5, so they're having different charges. So 336 is for including your Intune, P1 and basic security. 57 is which is approx. E3 for and P2 is more advanced Azure AD premium subscription, which gives you a feature of PT and PHS, I believe. And then we have advanced security analytics as well. So depends upon. And then lastly, we are going to use this plan. This is free for learning, and this is a pro tip. No one for lab, we require some basic device recommendation. We should be having something 150 GB of free disk space to set the lab. If 300 is recommended, if 300 GB is there, which is far enough, because whenever we installing Windows or we are deploying anything, so it keeps on increasing the uh, it keeps on eating up your space. Okay, when there is a Windows update coming or it's setting up the Windows, so it takes some good amount of disk space. Okay, and then we should be having a high throughput, means we should having a good RAM. Okay, on that device at least 16 GB is minimum what is needed, but if 32 GB is there, then that's recommended, and that is really good, because when you are running multiple VMs at a time, so it may consume memory, and because of that you may end up seeing that okay, one of the VM is failing because of disk space or insufficient memory on the device. And then we have a high end processor for fast processing, of course. So now every laptops, they having a good processing speed. Okay, we require an Android phone. If it's not there, I have also solution for that. I'll talk in Android, when we'll be talking now, covering Android solution, we'll be touching upon that. And okay, so more of this course is, I have curated this more of, it's 100 hours. So 10 hours we'll be talking about the beginner level, and then 30 hours is more of advanced level. Then we have architect level, which is more of a 53 to 55 hours, which is covering everything about this Intune. Okay, so I will not, I'll touch upon beginner and advanced. Of course, I have only 2 weeks, so in 2 weeks whatever I can better, I can teach and I can cover, I'll certainly do that. And more of architect level, if I'm not able to, if I'm getting the extension, possibly that is good. If I'm not getting that, we will have some day we can connect, you can message, and I'll help you guiding through how we can get this level as well. Okay, so right now nothing. That is, I feel one more thing, sorry, I just forget it, just to come here, give you the license stuff. Okay, one thing just to capture, okay, so let's talk about this is what I'm talking about, setting up Microsoft 365 sandbox subscription. Okay, this sandbox subscription is, it's gonna be instant sandbox. This will give you a 24 test users. Okay, and these test users are like we can use it, we can just rename it, just change the password and all, you can use it. And this subscription is more of just to give you understanding what you get. Okay, this subscription is giving you these many licenses. So developer subscription, so we will have all these licenses like Avatar for Teams, P1, P2, Infra. Okay, we will have Exchange Online, we will be having production for Office 365, Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Intune is also there, Microsoft Teams are there, Microsoft Purview is there. Okay, Okay, Power BI Pro license is given. Okay, SharePoint is there, and lots of like licenses are free to use. Okay, and if you go especially for Intune licensing, so if you go to this, so there are like the Intune Plan 1 comes with these, like if you're using Microsoft 365 E5 or E3, you will get a plan 1. If you are using like business premium, of course you are getting plan 1. But plan 2 and plan 3, what I best suggest is going with developer, because in developer we get lots of licenses, and Entra and P1 and P2 comes handy. You don't need to worry about anything. This is what the licensing comes, and just minimize. This is how the official Microsoft Intune pricing look like. Okay, so if you are looking for Intune Plan 1, okay, so in Intune Plan 1, it's more of it talking about the core capabilities, means they are more of talking about Microsoft core capabilities, like it will be giving you across endpoint management, okay, built-in security, mobile application management, endpoint analytics, and configuration manager. So these things are the basic, requirement that we get it from Intune. Now, if you want to use Intune tunnel for mobile, like if you wanting to use VPN, okay, so Microsoft Intune tunnel gives you this flexibility to connect through VPN solution. We can connect iOS and Android devices, and ensures that yes, we do not require any enrollment for these devices, but still we can manage this. So that feature is not available. Don't see check marks here, right? Intune management for specialty devices, like I said, we will having any virtual augmented reality devices, or any small screen devices, or in your retail store if you have any scanner or something. Okay, so or in meeting room you have some devices, so you'll not be able to manage it. So in like rugged devices I'm talking about, these are not available. And then for Androids, like we will be having a term called Intune firmware over the air, so it's called FOTA. So these updates, gives you for the supported devices, the firmware gets automatically updated through this, so that cannot be availed with Intune Plan 1. Okay, then Intune remote help, if you are paying additionally as an add-on, you can take it by in $3, 3.550 cents. And if you're having Microsoft Endpoint Privilege Management, which is also absolutely required to establish elevation, so that can also be availed by adding add-on. Okay, and endpoint analytics, advanced analytics, that is also like Intune analytics I'm talking about, more of driven by your IT admin to understand like what is your user experience, how the application is performing, how the devices are synchronizing, or if there is any issues with the network latency, whatever. Okay, they can anticipate and they can work upon it. So this is also in a $5 by paying extra and as an add-on. And Microsoft Intune Enterprise Application Management, this is more of uh, application management, more of a deployment, app discovery, uh, installing or hosting that application to a catalog server, that can also be availed here. And PKI, so if you're using any certificate based key structure, where you have a certificate based authority, like for VPN, for your Wi-Fi and all sort of things, if you have set some certificate based authentication, that point of time you can also avail by paying add-on. So what I'm trying to say, like this Intune add-on is $8, which is like a free for 30 days. You can avail it, trying for free. But if you're going with Intune Suite, okay, so Intune Suite gives you more of all type of options available, and this is also, I believe, this is also 30 days. So everything is available and then can be used. So if you want, you can directly go to Intune Suite, and if you are wanting to avail this
So for dev account, I have one question. For dev account, is this credit card or debit card is required? Thank you.
Yeah, hi Vaibhav. Is there any official certificate for this program? Okay, thank you.
Hey, hi, Bhairav. This is Rohit here. So, just a quick question, Bhairav. So, the that you have presented, right? It will be shared to all of us, or it will be sharing later on post the course is completed. Yep. Thanks, Bhairav.
Maybe can you just go to the architecture where you have explained?
Correct. Yep. Is it here?
Yeah, this one.
Hmm.
So you said about the complaints. So
Hmm.
in security complaints on ISO 27001 standard,
Hmm.
how we make sure that the threat detections and threat modeling is been integrated into the service?
Can you repeat your question? I just lost you in between. ISO security
So
and then what?
regarding the ISO
Mm-hmm.
27001
Mm-hmm.
security standard, if we call it as a threat modeling, right? So
Mm-hmm.
threat modeling approach is Microsoft One. So how and where we will configure or uh, integrate the process into this product lifecycle?
Okay. So more of this Intune security purpose. Let me do maximize it so you can have it more on. So what I understand, your ISO, what you're talking about, sir, this ISO, which is more of your risk management, right? Risk identification and
Mm.
assessment. This is what the mitigation, what they have given it. What we can do implementation wise from endpoint, I mean, we can have Intune, what I say, typical threat management in Intune. So we can go with device where we can map device hardening, okay, where we can have a compliance policy. I'll just show you here. This is what it says, one second. This is what it says: data for compliance and threat assessment. Okay. And read device compliance information. So this is more of enforcing a compliance policies, which is like a device hardening. We want to enforce a OS version. We want to encrypt the device. We need to have a secure boot enabled. We should have a password policies. So all these, we should stop, or we should mitigate the tampering, or we should have elevation of privilege. So this is where we can have this Intune. This is where Intune controls these support ISO 27701 risk mitigations. Okay. And we can have a configuration policies as well. For example, I want to restrict camera, I want to restrict Bluetooth, I want to restrict USB, I want to enable firewall, I want to enable defender settings. So all this for data leakage, we can mitigate it, and we can have an unauthorized system access. This is what I'm talking about, device security. At the same time, we will have this compliance policies for MAM, like I said, app protection policies. This is where we can mitigate information disclosure, like copy and paste, restricting to save locations, like they should not be allowed to save this on your personal devices, but they can save it on your cloud or SharePoint, something like that. So, and this is where we can also set your trusted applications, where integrity check will happen if they are downloading any software from any XYZ or any malicious or exploited websites. That application will be checked here, and if that application is not trusted, it will then and there mitigate, and it will raise a risk for malware. Okay. So these things we can have it, and then we have as access control here. So we can enforce MFA, we can enforce device compliance, network location stuff. So unauthorized access, everything can be managed. So this is where we can set all these security terms. I mean, it's overall. There is like network also. You can set VPN configuration profiles. You can create a certificate based authentication. We can have Microsoft Defender for endpoint integration that can also be achieved here. Somewhere we saw it, right? So everything is, we have more secure. A Microsoft tunnel is more of, as I said, mobile devices. Okay, sort of piece. If device is not enrolled, still we can have this Microsoft tunnel as in working as a VPN. So we can have it. So lots of things that we have covered so far, and Intune gives you that flexibility to ensure that we have a right security.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other question, or we are good to wind up?
I have only one question.
Yep. Please go ahead.
Would you know for Intune security aspects any exam code like available,
What is the
or
question
else
for security?
certifications from Intune?
Which security? I'm sorry.
Intune security.
Intune
Did you have
security.
any exam code? Did you have any specific code, exam code available, like MD1 or 2, like other than?
I mean, what I know, this MD 102, having all the official, things like Microsoft Intune, endpoint security, compliance, applications, autopilot, intra ID, integration, defender, everything is there in MD. If you want to be very specific with this, then from MD 102, you can also do SC 900. SC 900.
Oh.
Okay, that will give you more on the security, compliance, identity, fundamentals, and everything. But MD 102, I think, covers a lot. But if you specifically you want to go in security, go with SC 900.
On top of the question, did you have any, especially like security area from the in Intune we have, sorry, Azure we have a lot of areas of security firewall. I mean, other than from Intune, did you have any kind of security side like compliance and malware and other than area we have
So we have in endpoint security policies, these like baselines and hardening that we can do. We have ASR rules. We have like attack surface reduction that is there. We have EDR. We have firewall, network protection. Everything is there. Intune runs on zero trust foundation, which is more of like it talks about the signaling. Every now and then it checks through the signals whether that user is compliant or not, or device is compliant or not. So that can also be, I mean, that is also part of it. Then we have Entra ID and plus compliant conditional access. So we can have a multi-factor authentication. We can have conditional based authentication. Device should be on, if device is compliant, then the conditional access will be performed. User or device risk evaluation is there. So this is part of zero trust. And then MAM policy we talked about already. MAM security. We should block the copy and paste. We should have a pin for the application, preventing to backup it on a personal storage. All this part of in Intune. We can have a VPN, Wi-Fi certificate based authentication. So everything is there.
For Intune only one, MD1, right? So
MD
no
102
other
and SC 900, that two certification will complement if you purely going in security. Otherwise, MD 102 is sufficient. There is nothing more than that you need. Okay. All right. So I think no questions. We are good to wind up, right, guys?
Yes.
Let's connect tomorrow
Okay.
at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you.